لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق أجمعين محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. We are discussing the subject of fiqh, the mutahhiraat, or the cleaning agents. If something become impurified, how to purify it, with what way, There are many things, 12 things actually, which can purify the unpurified things, and for each one of them there are certain rules and regulations that we are going to discuss inshallah one by one. It is the issue 149. It says that there are 12 things which make najis object as tahir. First, water. Second, earth. Third, the sun. Fourth, transformation or istihala. 5, change or inqilab. And 6, Islam. 7, subjection or tabi'iyya. I think this is 8. 9 is removal of original najasat. 10, confining or istibra of animal which feeds on najasat. 11, disappearance of a Muslim. And 12, draining of the usual quantity of blood from the slaughtered body of an animal. Of course, for each one of them has a lot of details. When you say the earth will not clean everything. So what things can be cleaned by earth, what cannot be? When you say the sun, how it will clean certain things, not everything. So there are a lot of rules and regulations about each one of them, which is going to be discussed. The main one is the water, which started first with water, issue 150. Water makes najis things tahir when the following 4 conditions are fulfilled. First, the water should be pure, hence in najis things cannot be made tahir with mixed water like rose water or melon water, etc. Second, the water should be tahir by itself. 3, the water should not turn into mudaf while the najis thing is being washed. Furthermore, the smell, color or taste of the najasat should not exist after the final washing. But if changes occur during earlier washing, there is no harm in it. For example, if a thing is washed with core water or under core water, and in order to make it tahir, it is necessary to wash it twice, it will become tahir if the changes in the water do not occur in the second washing. Any changes occurring in the first washing would not matter. And 4, small particles of najisul ayn should not remain behind in a najis thing after it has been washed. Other conditions for making najis thing tahir by water less than core will be mentioned later. So he gave some general rules about the water. He said then najis thing like a cloth, like a hand, like utensils, if they are najis, can be cleaned by water, but the water should have certain conditions. First, the water should be pure water, because it said mixed water like juice or other thing that will get itself najis by contact with najasat and will not relieve najasat. So if my finger is najis and I have only rose water, I cannot wash it with rose water and say it will be tahir, because rose water is liquid like water. No, the rose water will not remove najasat even if I wash it 10 times. So it has to be pure. The second thing, that the water itself should be tahir. If the water there is najis, naturally it will contaminate the thing and make more najasat rather than to make it tahir. So that is a condition to be understood. Third, they say the water should not be affected by the attributes of the najasat. We said if there is a blood, for example, the first time when you put water, that water will get color of the blood, or smell of a blood or urine. If it is there, it will get maybe smell or color. So it will change its smell or color because of the najis. So that is not to be counted. When we remove the najasat and then we wash it one time or two times or three times, the details are going to come, then water will make it tahir. If the water itself has been changed, naturally will not remove impurity, because already whatever water we put is already becoming najis. I mean, suppose a big cut and there is continuous blood coming. If I wash it one time and the water is full of blood, naturally will not be tahir. Two times, three times, four times will not be tahir. Till such time when blood stops, maybe by suturing or by any other mean, or maybe by pressing, when blood stops, and then when you wash it there is no color or smell of the blood is there, then we say it become tahir by washing one time or two times, you know. Of course that is known, but still he has to remind the people about it, you know, because we said the water itself will be najis if it is mixed with najis and changed its color or smell or taste. That is mentioned in advance. So if water you add and it change its color or smell or taste, naturally will not be tahir the water and will not remove the impurity of the thing. Till we remove it, okay, there is too much urine in the cloth. You put little water and you press it, still the smell of urine is there, you know, okay, the color may not show, but the smell is there, you know. So we don't say that I put water become tahir. I put two times water, three times, four times, till first the original impurity, means the urine, goes out. So the water which comes out is clean. No smell, no taste, and no color of the impurity. And then from that we will say that it should be washed after cleaning from original impurity. Should it be washed with core water one time or two times, with less than core water one time or two times? That details will come, in which he's going to discuss them one by one, you know. So first is removing the original impurity. So water, he said, will make it tahir when the water itself is not affected by original impurity. So he said that is the third condition. The fourth condition, he says small particles of najasat should not be there. Naturally that is the same. I mean, if it is a stool, let us say of a child or something, and you want to wash it, if with the water small particles is coming out, naturally that water will remain najis, you know, till you clean it completely from it. Of course he's going to mention that if only color remained, just discoloration, there is no thickness, no germ, no part of the particles, no thickness, then it is okay, because that is only color, and color has no thickness, so is not to be affected. But if there is a thickness, so small particles are there, then it will not make it tahir till the time we clean it completely. So that is the issue 150. We come to issue 151. The interior of a najis vessel or utensil must be washed 3 times if less than core water is used, and as per obligatory precaution, the same will apply if core or running water is used. So here, if you have a utensil and it has interior, if its interior become najis due to blood or urine or alcohol or whatever najasat which is najis, and you have to wash it to clean it, you have to wash it. If less than core water, you have little water, with the bucket of water you put, and then you move it to spread all over, and then you throw it. That is first time, and then you push water, and again you rinse it and throw the water, become 2 times, and you put also 3 times. So for utensils, 3 times with less than core water has to be washed, the utensil. Now if I have running water, core water, as usually tap water is used. I mean, sometimes I am in the park, for example, and one of the utensils get najis, so with little water I can do it 3 times. But if I have running water in the kitchen, is it also 3 times necessary? He said yes, as a obligatory precaution, The same will apply if core or running water is used. Well, probably because cleanliness of it is very crucial issue and has to be completely clean. That is why 3 times. Of course, Allah knows why that rule is there. Now we come about the dog. You say if a dog drinks water or any other liquid from a utensil. So he said the utensil should be first scrubbed with tahir earth, and after washing off the dust it should be washed twice with core or less than core water. So now the dog first has to be rubbed with earth. You have to find earth from the garden, from where. Okay, sometimes in the Western countries it's difficult to find earth. In Eastern countries earth is available, but still in the garden you have earth. So one has to get little clay from the earth, rub the utensil completely, and after rubbing it, wash it, clean it from water, and then 2 times washing it is sufficient to make it tahir. Of course, if that utensil belong always to dog, you can leave it najis for the dog. But if the dog used your utensil and you want to use your utensil, naturally you have to clean it with this way. Similarly, if the dog licks a utensil and something remains in it, it should be scrubbed with dust before washing. And if the saliva of a dog falls into the utensil, as per obligatory precaution, it should be scrubbed with dust and then washed with water 3 times. So sometimes the drink or lick, so it comes, sometimes the saliva will fall. If the saliva will fall in a utensil, then has to be rubbed or scrubbed first with the dust and then washed 3 times here. So as I said, if you forget the numbers 2 times or 3 times or 1 time and so on, if you always wash it 3 times, then you cover all the views. Of course, except for the dog, you should remember that it has to be scrubbed first with clay, with dust. Not a clay which is hard. The dust, sand is not suitable, but the dust which make a clay. That earth which make a clay. Sand is allowed, but maybe it scratches. But that dust will not scratch, but has to be rubbed properly and then later on washed. Issue 152. If the mouth of a utensil which a dog has licked is narrow, dust should be thrown into it, and after adding some quantity of water, it should be shaken vigorously so that the dust may reach all parts of it. Thereafter, the utensil should be washed in the manner mentioned above. Now, if utensil is big open, then with your hand you can rub it first with dust and then clean it, But if something like a bottle and it has a small neck, so you cannot enter your hand. So he said that you put the dust there and you put little water and then shake it vigorously. Then the dust will cover all the areas, and then take it out and wash it first time to remove the dust, and then clean it 2 times or 3 times as it was mentioned before. Come to issue 152. We mentioned it. 153. If a utensil is licked by a pig, or if it drinks any liquid from it, or in which a field mouse has died, then it should be washed 7 times with running water or core or lesser than core water. It will not be necessary to score it with dust. So about the pig, if licked something or drink something, and the mouse, if it die on the utensil, so in that case, for the pig, no need to rub it with dust, but to wash it not 3 times. That is the only exception. you have to wash it 7 times. Whether with running water, core water, or less than core water, by any type of water, you have to wash it 7 times. Issue 154, a utensil which becomes najis because of alcoholic beverage should be washed 3 times with no difference between core, lesser than core, or running water. Again, now the issue for alcohol or any wine, if the glass with wine is used, alcohol is there, so they're cleaning, no need for dust like the dog, but it has to be washed 3 times properly. And he said no difference whether it is core water or less than core water, because it will come in detail. Sometimes with less than core you need to wash 2 times, but with core you need 1 time sufficient. But said here about this issue, when there is alcoholic beverage there, he said no, it has to be washed 3 times. Issue 155, if an earthenware has become made of najis clay or najis water has penetrated in it, it should be put into core or running water so that wherever water reaches, it will be tahir. And if it is intended to make its interior tahir, it should be left in core or running water for such time that the water would penetrate into its entire structure. And if the earthenware is moist, preventing water from reaching its inner parts, then it should be allowed to dry up before it is put in core or running water. You see that earthenware is very common, used in countries like Iraq or Iran in the old days. They use it to cool the water. They put the water, and because the water will penetrate and then the water become cool in hot, dry summer, the water will be cool. You know, the people had no refrigerator to get cold water, so they put that, they make it, and they put water and put it in the air. By the aeration, the water itself become cool inside. So he put the law for naturally that. He said if people are careless and from a najis clay, if they make it, now how to break it and throw it away, or there is a way. He said you have to put it in it's a fountain of water with core till all the water penetrate inside and goes out from the other side, so that become tahir, you know. Well, probably in many countries now this is not the usual things available, yes. Issue 156, a najis utensil can be made tahir with undercore water in 2 ways. First, the utensil should be filled up with water and emptied 3 times. Second, some quantity of water is poured in it, and then the utensil is vigorously shaken so that the water reaches all najis part before it is spilled. This should be done 3 times. You say, if I have a utensil, how to make it clean practically? He said, let us say if it is a small like a glass, you put a glass under the tap water, it will fill, throw it out, then again fill, throw it out, and the 3rd time when you fill it out, then it become tahir. But now if the utensil is big and too much water there and you don't want to waste that water, so you put little water and try to vigorously rinse it so the water will reach all the parts. And then throw it again 2nd time, and then throw it and the 3rd time, then it will become tahir. Issue 157, if a large pot like a cauldron, etc. becomes najis, it will be tahir if it is filled up with water 3 times and emptied every time. Alternatively, if water is poured from above 3 times in such a way that it reaches all its sides, and then the water which collects at the bottom is drawn out every time, it will become tahir. but as a recommended precaution, the vessel used for drawing out water should be washed when being used for the second time and third time. Sometimes it's difficult to pour the water. It's a huge, big thing, and you have it, and then inside there is najis, so you cannot put water and throw it out. Not easy to move it. So what to do? He said you can put water from all sides, and the water will be at the bottom, and then with the drainage you can drain the water out. So the first washed water, what he said, we use the term washed, this is the remaining water, is taken out. Now the drain become najis, so you have to wash the drain and then put water in that big pot again, then it will be collected down and drain it again with a tahir drain. And then third time also, when you pour water all around and then it will be collected down, you drain it third time with a tahir drain, so it become tahir. We give examples how to make najis things tahir. These are all examples in practical life. Because some people who work with big utensils, if by chance become najis, then they don't know how to make a tahir. So it's giving all possibilities. Issue 158. If a najis copper and similar things are melted and washed with water, their exterior becomes tahir. Well, sometimes the utensil is najis, and then they melt it and make another utensil out of copper. So what is going to happen? You said if you wash outside of it, it's tahir, and even if it is inside najis, the water will not penetrate, so will not affect. Issue 159. If a baking oven, tannoor, becomes najis with urine, and if water is poured into it once from above in a manner that it reaches all its sides, the oven will become tahir. But as a recommended precaution, this should be done twice, and if the oven has become najis due to something other than urine, then the najasat should be eliminated first, and thereafter water will be poured into it as described. It is better that a pit or hole is dug at the bottom so that water collects there. That water is then drawn out and the pit is filled with tahir earth. See, the bakery, they use not like a furnace nowadays to put, but they use a big pot built from that jobrok around, and they put fire below, and then they put the bread on the side. The bread will become will be baked that way. So that bakery will get najis. Now, how to get it tahir with water? He said, if it is with urine, then one has to pour water to all its wall, and then the water will be collected down. That the collected down water is the problem with it. So he said either to open a big pit down, and then the water will go down, and then you fill it with tahir, extra to all parts. Or nowadays, if a drainage is available, you can drain it out, and then you fill it with something tahir. So he said, well, one times, or if it is with other than urine, maybe 2 times. But you see, always they are thinking about the washed water, what we use the term. You wash it, yes, but then what about the remaining water? That is contaminated water. How to take it out? So we have to drain it in any way. If it is a cloth, you squeeze it so it will be drained. If it is a pot, as before he said, you take it by drainage. If it is tannoor for the bread, for bakery, they use it again. He said you have to either drain it or you put a pit. Practically, I mean, he talking, because usually they put it on the ordinary floor, not on a cement or other that you cannot make a pit. It give example from practical life. So these are some practical examples in our life here. 160. If a najis thing is immersed once in cold or running water in such a way that water reaches all its najis parts, it becomes tahir. And in the case of a carpet or a dress, it is not necessary to squeeze or wring or press it. And when body or a dress is najis become because of urine, it must be washed twice, even in cold water. Now, if there is cold water, we have a fountain with cold water. If a najis object, you put it there inside the water, once will be tahir. So that either a fountain or a river water or sea water or whatever, when you immerse it once is sufficient. But he said, if it is a carpet, is it necessary to squeeze it or not? That is the question, and he's talking about cold water. According to some ulama, like late Ayatullah, he said, even the carpet with cold water, you have to squeeze it, so the washed water should come out of it. But according to other group of ulama, and Ayatullah Al-Sistani, one of them, he said, no, squeezing is not necessary. Since it is with cold water will wash najasat and it will go without need to squeeze it, because water is continuously moving and affected with that, so no need for squeezing. So that is a difference in views about necessary to squeeze or not. Of course, if you squeeze it, always is better. You cover both the views, but still you should know that there are two views on this issue. So he said, if it is najis because of urine, it should be washed twice. I mean, if it is with blood, let us say one time sufficient with cold water, but if with urine, you have to wash it twice, even with cold water. Issue 161. When a thing which has become najis with urine is to be made tahir with water less than cold, it should be poured once, and as water flows off, eliminating all the traces of urine, the thing will become tahir. But if a dress or body has become najis because of urine, it must be washed twice, so that it is tahir. When a cloth or a carpet and the similar things are made tahir with water which is less than cold, it must be wrung or squeezed till the water remaining in it runs out. So here there are many things. You say when a thing becomes najis with urine, with less than cold water, if you pour in it and it comes out one time is sufficient. But if the body or a cloth is there, then with urine, with less than cold water, you have to wash it 2 times. And also, he said, if it is a cloth, then you have to squeeze it so that the contaminated washed water will come out. So he mentioned here about squeezing. That is why I say generally, if somebody squeeze anything squeezable like a cloth or carpet or anything which can be squeezed, so at least the najis water inside will come out. That will be better, and you are covering all the views. Issue 162. If anything becomes najis with the urine of a suckling child who has not yet started taking solid food, and as a precaution is less than 2 years old, the thing will be tahir if water is poured over it once, reaching all parts which had been najis. As a recommended precaution, water should be poured over it once, and if it is a carpet or a dress, etc., it will not be necessary to squeeze it. There is only one exception for the urine of a small child, a baby, less than 2 years, before he eat solid food. It said its urine is light, and only to pour water in it, even without squeezing, it will be tahir. If you add water to it, then water is mixed, and that will go, because effect is not much. Some people say urine of a child is tahir, but it is not. This is common belief among the mothers who are nursing their children. They say no, the urine of the child is tahir because child is not eating, but that is not correct fact. The urine of a child of a baby is najis, but to wash it, you just pour water in it, and said even not necessary to squeeze it. Now, if you squeeze it, of course, that is better, up to you. But what I mean, without squeezing, still it is okay. So these are some of the issues. I think it is sufficient for today, and inshallah we'll continue in the next session. والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد